So let's go into this reading here. First of all, this is an energy about starting new things, going on adventures, traveling back and forth, possibly in your vehicle. So be very careful about speeding. Be careful about running red lights. Be careful about planning out, mapping out your route before you head off, so that way you can anticipate accidents, traffic, roadblocks, whatever it is, so that you're not late. Okay, because I feel like you're whizzing around, you're speeding very, very quickly, possibly running, traffic lights. So be very, very careful. This is a very dynamic energy coming through early on in this month, basically meaning there's a lot of things to do, a lot of people to see, a lot of like short trips, long-term trips, or long distance trips taken as well. So you're not going to be staying in one place for too long. Okay. This usually indicates to me traveling over land, but it can also indicate as well a lot of energies where you're speaking to foreigners, you're dealing with people who might hail from a different environment. So being culturally sensitive, being culturally appropriate, and also being, having that sense of cultural competency when you speak to an audience or when you interact with people, especially if they're foreign to you, it is going to be very crucial to win over allies. So we have an energy here about you, possibly working through the night, having very, very, they want to say like lucid dreams, possibly for some of you, sleepwalking. But I'm also feeling inspiration coming in at nighttime. In the morning, in the daytime, you're like whizzing around and you're not, absorbing spiritual messages that are coming through for you. So at night is when you're being bombarded by all of these spiritual snippets, spiritual guidance. And, it's almost like your guides are trying to speak to you to steer you in the right direction. So taking some time to slow down, taking some time to meditate, and especially don't wear yourself out like working all night. That's going to be very crucial for you to have success and to harness this energy for this month, okay? Yes, things are all happening around you, but I feel like you want to really pick and choose so that you're not overcommitting yourself, you're not overextending yourself, and you're getting proper restful sleep. That's very crucial. And, motor skills are heavily affected when we're sleep deprived. So I can't stress enough. You need to keep yourself rested, and you need to, be very vigilant when you're driving or if other people are driving you as well. Okay. So fast moving, very, it's like a very momentum induced type of an energy. And I feel that it might make you feel very, very anxious and very high strung this month. So be very careful about that. Okay. The second card here that really stood out to me, we have here the Three of Cups. And usually I think of this as like, people gossiping about us or people that we don't really get along with. Okay. So if we look at this energy, this is a water energy. This is a kind of like a clan, a group of people that are emotionally linked in with each other. And what it denotes to me is, they have an emotional attachment to each other. And when it's right next here to the moon, as well as the Ten of Swords, I feel like there might have been some recent falling out between people that you might have, once upon a time were very close with, and you're at a point where life is accelerating for you, right? You're ascending, and I feel like you're growing spiritually, emotionally, even physically. You're growing. You're outgrowing your friends. You're outgrowing your former circle. And so even if you're making connections with them, it just feels like it's not the same. It just feels like we're all drifting apart, or it just feels like you're drifting apart and they're no longer, that emotional connection is no longer there because life experiences are so different. And so once again, there's a huge element here about dealing with people that might be very culturally, ethnically different from you. And so be mindful about, what is appropriate, and also be mindful about social faux pas, things that we shouldn't do cross-culturally, or things that we shouldn't do when we're dealing with people who are a little bit more traditional, who are a little bit more clan-based, or who are a little bit more like, I think of this as like a culture that is a little bit more collective, where, they're not individualistic. They work together as a unit, as an organism, as something that is linked up with each other. Whereas your energy is very dynamic, it's very individualistic. So I feel like that might be where they kind of feel like you're the odd man out, and that might be where sources of contentions and, cultural or even social faux pas might throw a wrench in the works. Okay, so this is a situation where things have not been good in the past. There might have been hurtful words thrown about. There might have been, somebody saying one thing and then doing another. And as a result of it, I feel like a lot of the interactions that you're dealing with for this month is like, it's reverberating. It's like somebody that you've dealt with in the past, they say one thing meant another. And then this is the month where you have an opportunity to set things right. And I feel that you're going to set things right. But I also feel that there are a lot of things, nuances at stake. And it almost feels like the other people might see you in one singular way. They've already formed an opinion, or they've already formed kind of like a firm opinion of you. And so switching this situation around, it is in your best interest to do so. So you have kind of like a second chance here, a do-over, a reset. And I feel that you are going to try your best. You are going to try your best to communicate in a way where it allows the other person, room to maneuver. And you're also going to be expressive because, once again, you are very expressive. But I feel like I've been telling Geminis in the past, be careful what you say. Don't reveal so much of yourself. While we're like this, this is a page energy, so it's very, very inexperienced. So I feel like there are a lot of nuances circling around you that you might not be aware of. And so if you're careless with your words, if you're revealing too much, I feel like it allows another person to kind of have power and have control over you. They might not see you in a serious light, and they might, I want to say, they might cast you or judge you, or, just delegate you to a position where they feel like you might not have the full knowledge and the expertise that they need. Okay. So if we're talking about job interviews as well, err on the side where you are being a little bit more linear and systematic when you communicate. So don't inundate them with too much information. Don't go off on tangents, of course, but at the same time, speak from a voice of authority, speak from expertise, really digging in, doing that research, and, making yourself sound as credible and even as knowledgeable as you can. So that means sticking to things that you know for certain, okay, rather than bluffing. In the upright position, this is somebody with good intentions. This is somebody who's trying their best, but it is also a very young energy. It is a student. It is somebody who's very inexperienced. So if you do not know something, you have to kind of fess up. Oh, I'm not very aware of that. Can you tell me more? But, doing so in a crafty manner rather than saying, I don't know, and then shutting down. I feel it would be best for you to say, I'm actually not aware of that topic, or I'm not aware of that situation. Can you elaborate? Can you give me more information? And then, go off on what they're telling you. Okay. Then gradually absorb that information, because you're here to learn, and we're all here to learn in one way or another. But I feel like this is technical knowledge that you still need to accumulate, technical knowledge that you still need to memorize, and technical knowledge that you still need to kind of You've already learned it and you're trying to apply it in real life. And I feel like there is somebody kind of guiding you through this process. First of all, we have here a Pentacles person. So this is an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I usually look at this person as somebody who is in a position of authority over you, okay? Supervisor, a manager, a boss, somebody who's kind of judging your performance, or somebody who has a lot of wisdom. But this person, he or she, once again, the cards are gender neutral. He or she is very, very smart. They see value in people and things. They see proper value in people and things. And what they do is that they have a very hands-off type of an approach where they want to assess your skills. If there's a problem, they sit back and they see how you handle it. And so for this month, it would be very smart for you to kind of like slow down your energy to the level of this person. This is a very deliberate person. They're calculating and they make calculated decisions. So if you run into some type of trouble, if you run into, you know, a problem where you feel like, I don't know if I have all the information, let me bluff it, don't do that. I feel like it's really important for you to slow down and really think about it, you know, go through that process. Go through that problem solving, troubleshooting process and ask yourself, okay, so what do I know and what do I not know and how do I arrive at conclusion? So I feel like you have to play the scientist here. And then if you're absolutely stuck, going to this person is going to be in your best interest because they also want to be able to trust you. So if you don't know something, they want you to solve it first. And then if you're absolutely stuck, they want you to come to them and they'll make your problems go away. So I feel for some of you, this is a person that you're working with. And this is somebody with a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise, and they see a lot of potential in you. If this is a relationship partner, you've got one of the best placement here because I usually think of this as the Mr. or Mrs. Right. And with this person, they're very sensual, very, they can be very, very generous. They don't like to be taken advantage of though, but they can be very incredibly generous and they will be there to help you if you ever come across any types of a problem that you can't handle on your own. So a very dependable relationship partner. I feel for some of you, also family member, a family member, possibly older brother, older sister, father figure even with this card, mainly because I'm feeling this is somebody that, if it's a father figure or somebody within your family, I feel like they say like intelligence is passed down. So this is somebody that has a lot of intelligence, a lot of wisdom. And, you know, by being genetically linked to them, they're passing down these traits to you. So the way that you think, the way that you process information is very similar to them. So I feel like a very strong intellectual rapport between you and this person, and whatever the two of you think about, I feel like you might approach it a different way, but you will arrive at the same conclusions. You have the same sense of problem solving and things like that. So I feel like there's going to be heavy interaction with this person. The fact that they're kind of crowning you in this reading indicates to me you're heavily thinking about this person. You're heavily thinking about how do they see me, and their opinion of you matters a great deal as well. So once again, be careful about pegging our sense of self-worth and our self-esteem based on how other people perceive us. Don't do that, okay? But I feel like you can't really help it because you're very smitten by this person, or at least you really admire this person and you wish that you could, you know, have the skills and the fortitude and, you know, the patience that they have. So I'm going to do your love relationship reading in a little bit, but I feel like this is somebody you're heavily, heavily thinking about. There might have been some communication mishaps in the past, and I feel like you're trying to rectify the situation. You're trying to figure out, okay, it was my fault. What can I do differently so that it doesn't happen again? So I feel like you're basically emerging, learning a lot about what not to do, how to better communicate, how to be a lot more mellow, and how to be a lot more calm. So this is a month where we're dealing with a lot of self-improvements that's happening, and I feel like the self-improvement was something where I feel like, and I don't want this to be harsh at all, okay? I feel like people have been telling you, like, you need to slow down, or you need to, do things a little bit differently, and you were resisting, right? Because this is an energy of somebody that knows it all. So you were resisting. And this is the month where, in the process of having a lot of dealings with all different kinds of people, and having situations that might have gone awry, social interactions where there were social faux pas committed. And I also feel like when you're dealing with somebody that doesn't see eye to eye with you, and they purposely cling onto their position, it's really striking a chord with you where you're feeling like, I need to change my strategy. I need to know more. I need to learn more. I need to reassess, and I need to change myself. Not that there's anything wrong with you, Geminis, but I feel like it's still a growing process that you're going through. And it's still a situation where you look back at the past. What did I do wrong? How were my words or my actions kind of hurtful? And if I have a chance to fix it, of course you're going to fix it, because I feel like you're starting to see the consequences, actions and consequences. I feel that coming through. If in the past you have been a little bit kind of enthusiastic, overly enthusiastic, or a little bit reckless, I feel like emotionally, it created, situations where people might not have trusted you, or they might not have felt like you were going to be around. And so that created falling outs, that created emotional estrangements between you and other people. And so this is the month where we have do-overs, we have resets, we have an opportunity to make things right. Okay, and I feel like you're going to jump on that opportunity to make things right, to just rectify a situation. So I'm going to talk about this because it came out first as well. So first of all, I have another person in the picture here. This is a fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. And this is someone quite exciting, quite popular, very, love them and leave them type of a person. And it could be male or female. So Sagittarius, Aries, Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and I feel like it's linked up with the moon. It could be a moon sign. And I feel as if there's a lot of romance. There's a lot of, there's really, really good emotional connection as well. And I feel as if you're following in their footsteps. You're kind of like led by this person. And if you were in any type of a situation with them, I feel like the relationship was very based on their whims. So be careful about that. I mentioned before, don't peg your sense of self-worth on another person. Okay? It's hard for dual signs not to do that. And dual signs, you and Pisces, it's very hard for you guys to not do that. And I feel like this is the month where it's becoming a little bit difficult to do that, because this person might be here today, gone tomorrow. They're exciting, and yes, you're following in their footsteps, but I feel like the direction is dictated by them, and you might not have as much say or influence in the same way that they have over you. So be very careful about, not getting pulled and dragged along by somebody else, and you're neglecting your responsibilities. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, and we're going to do your love reading in a little bit, because this is exciting to see. I feel like some of you are transitioning as well. You're no longer looking for this fun, exciting, dynamic person. You want something a little bit more stable. That's what it feels like to me. You're no longer looking to, globetrot jump around, move from place to place. You're looking for a job that is a little bit more stable, or you're looking for a way of life that is a little bit more stable as well. So the last two cards I'm going to talk about here is the Six of Pentacles as well as the Wheel of Fortune. This is usually in the upright financial windfall, money coming in, money coming back to you. When it's in the reverse, I feel like some of you, more money, more problems, money leaving your hands. Okay, money coming to, going out to contractors, for example, or money coming in to a specialist or somebody who is giving you some type of technical advice, like a consultant. So there's a lot of money that have or is going to be leaving your hands this month. This is not coming in as a surprise. Okay, so I feel like this is something that has been kind of hovering over you and you have already taken care of it, or if not, you have plans to take care of it this month. And this is something that they're saying, don't cry over it. You're going to be able to rebuild it. Okay. We have to spend money to make money is what I'm sensing. So the bridge between this process where you're spending money and this process where you're building up money, we have the Wheel of Fortune here, which means your luck is going to turn around, which means there will be ample opportunities for you to rebuild that wealth. Okay. So right now you need to solidify your plans. You need to, aim to do things, learn from the past, aim to do things in a more timely manner is what I'm sensing. And and I feel this a lot, the earth signs are really, really good. And also Scorpios, earth signs, Scorpios, they're very, very good with financial management. But I feel like for other signs, it's not too great. And especially for you guys, Geminis, I feel like you've been having fun, going out, living your life. And so accumulating money and being, nickel and diming yourself is not something that you do. And so you have to take lessons, learn from the past. Where have I been too extravagant? Where have I succumbed to emotional spending? Where have I just kind of through socializing, wasted a lot of money as well? And through, practical responsibilities that I didn't take care of. I feel like you're extrapolating these lessons, and then you're going to start to rebuild for the future.